It truly were pilgrims that more of the resources embarked on great journey on the project of modern community. Nowadays, student mobility has become more of an engaging experience on the trip. Modern institutions of higher education are everyday programs for students. Capturing new technologies and information and communication, campus is able to break free from physical constraints and be able to reach any place where someone who needs to really actually requires to learn. UbiCamp is the latest step taken in this process. The project has greatly used virtual student mobility and favors the incorporation of higher education institutions into the initiative. The project is structured as a series of frameworks that enable this virtual exchange between the participating institutions. Academic framework. It defines local regulations related to the academic content and quality, as well as the requirements and methods to facilitate the curricular evaluation of mobility. Its objective is to determine how the evaluation of the participating students and teachers should be performed. Cultural framework. This framework defines the cultural and social content that the participants in virtual mobility must require. Its objective is to assess mobility to be recognized. The social cultural concepts are one of the key elements that differentiate UbiCamp from other international e-learning programs. Technological framework. It stresses all the aspects related to technology that UbiCamp is involved. It describes the minimum technological resources for each participant in the institution. It also defines character characteristics, such as the regulation for information exchange. Capacitation framework. It links the available resources to the participants' mobility experience. It also plans how to achieve an adequate learning through the process of commercialization. Management framework. It summarizes the different administrative processes needs to carry out the virtual mobility experience. It comprises everything from the institutional agreements to participate in the UbiCamp virtual campus to the definition of the roles of each participating institutions. One of the most valuable aspects of physical mobility is its skills that can be gained by assuming different geographical and cultural contexts. Many projects on virtual mobility with the social cultural aspects initiative of the students themselves. Nevertheless, UbiCamp is deeply concerned with this aspect of education and living experience. It achieves its goals by putting technology at the service of interpersonal communication and the assimilation of concepts that recreate for the students in their receiving university the environment, the culture, and the place in which they can carry out their experiences if they were physically together. Through a social cultural itinerary, with the subsequent evaluation and an adequate academic recognition, the virtual mobility of the student will become something more than single international e-learning process. In the first edition of the project, UbiCamp has participation of 6 higher education institutions: the University of Oviedo, the University of Southampton, the Untitled Chapter University, the Yaşar University, the Autonomous University of Madrid, and the Campus University of Technology. The Campus University of Technology is one of the biggest and most dynamic entities of superior technical formation throughout the area. The city in which it is located, Campus, is the second biggest city of Lithuania and is a renowned industrial center with a very relevant role in the scientific and cultural scenario of the country. The Autonomous University of Madrid is a Spanish public higher education institution, internationally recognized for its excellence in teaching and research. It is located close to Madrid, and it is well communicated with the capital city of Spain, the most populated one of the country, and third one of the European Union. Apart from housing the government side, Madrid's cultural center is influenced itself worldwide. Yaşar University is located in Izmir, in the west coast of Turkey. It is one of the most active universities in Turkey, with supports and runs many international projects on mobility and transfer of knowledge as part of the internationalization strategy. It offers around 70 undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in English by providing the students not only a high-quality education, but also a learning environment, including links to people's lives. Beyond enhancing individual competencies and knowledge, students of Yaşar University enjoy international business, which offers visitors an attractive culture right in the heart of the Turkish engineering culture. Yaşar University is an institution with great influence in the cultural and intellectual life of Lithuania and worldwide regarding the Lithuanian diaspora and cultural heritage. Openness, flexibility, innovation, as well as democracy and liberalism are the core mission statements of the university, revealing its approach to education. Student and teacher mobility, innovative studies, and international relations are recognized for its strength and experience. The University of Oviedo, in the Spanish region of Asturias, is the university in charge of coordinating the first edition of the education project. With more than 400 years of history, it features a wide range of undergraduate degrees adapted to the European higher education area in all of the technologies, with the bilingual pathway that will reach the international universities, and inter-university postgraduate degrees in collaboration with more than 250 enterprises. The Principality of Asturias is a Spanish region with little more than 1 million inhabitants, with a privileged natural landscape, rich historical and artistic heritage, and excellent communications with the central area of the region, where its main cities are located. Now, the students of each of these universities have the opportunity of becoming students of one of the other universities and approach their environment and cultural reality. A way to acquire new knowledge and experiences, getting to know other points of view and ways to understand life. An instrument to strengthen the links between the university's community, regardless of distance, to forge new friendships and find college and future projects. A tool for learning and seeing the world from inside your house. UbiCamp is called
Good morning. Dear guests, let me welcome you to this final conference of our project UbiCamp, a new generation of education in Europe from distance learning to virtual mobility. I would like to wish you a very fruitful day during the morning sessions and also very productive and interesting discussions in the afternoon during the parallel sessions. And now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Professor Dr. Murat Barkan, Rector of Yaşar University.
First of all, do we need to change the screen? Anybody who may handle it? I would only say good morning, ladies and gentlemen, because after stepping into our campus and in Izmir, you're no more guests, you're housekeepers. You all know what are we here for. Simply, it was a dream. This whole story began with a dream. The dream was bringing European universities together on a virtual campus. Students of this campus were planned to be mobilized virtually using open and distance learning methods and technologies, so that a continent-scale university should be mobilized modelized, and to be served for the use of people, I mean our kind. A bunch of hearts started beating together around that dream. The starting point of that dream was Oviedo University from Spain. They were the first dreamers of this project. And then the other attendees came after. The University of Southampton from United Kingdom, Vitaktas, Magnus and Kaunas University of Technology from Lithuania, Universidad Autónoma de Madrid from Spain, another dreamer, Spanish university, the University of Pegaso, Italy, and finally, Yaşar University from Izmir. When I'm calling Izmir, Izmir is not another country, it's a part of Turkey. We can go into deeper discussions on that issue later. Coffee breaks. And they all put their hearts together for a multitask falls. They started steering their sincere expectations and let the expectations and dreams melt together to shape up a common model. Their vision was to create something that does not happen before. Going into details, knowing that the exponential increase of the global population rates is a danger, a threat, whereas global warming and greenhouse effects, melting poles of the global Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, in the close future, sharing of the less with the more people on Earth will be a serious issue, and that will threaten the peace. What is the solution for that threat and to bring peace is a high-scale, globe-wise education. That was right at the heart of that project. And the only option and the fuse of energy for a global peace is education, as I stated. They were aware that this was the core issue lying underneath the ideal Europeanization. That is what brings Europe together. Each participating university has designed 2 open distance learning courses and activated them in the form of virtual Erasmus exchange program. They have generated a guide for the users who were so physically distant but so close in hearts and minds. For instance, Yaşar has designed EU educational programs and project management and aesthetics culture course to be served for the outer world. And Yaşar as well was responsible, in another task, was responsible for the mediation of the project. European community has put some amount of money into their pocket as for a symbolic investment for the good of the humankind. So 14 open and distance learning courses were there to share. Ladies and gentlemen, when speaking about peace, sharing does not divide or subtract. It multiplies and adds something at the top of it. So sharing is the best way of going on to the peace as a target. The ideal reflects the partners' soul today. We were here together for the closing ceremony of this project. Oops. Sorry for the interruption. Women really like to interrupt me during these speeches. Being an attractive, handsome man, it is really a thing. That was a woman. My mother. She's a woman. Nearly 90 people here today from 15 different countries are together with us. plus Professor Teixeira, representing Eden. He is the president of that Eden. The opening is European Distance Education Network, is with us to join together. Last but not the least, this is not the end of a dream, but a new clear start of a new reality achieved and can be used for peace. That is what Europe is for, or is it not? Europe will be a better, prosperous, happy, and peaceful piece of land as long as we can share science and academic products, taking barriers out of using technology and mobilize people to know each other. That is for coming together today. Thanks for being with us. In the meantime, being the poor male representative of Yaşar University, the whole population is nearly 76.8% of our university are women. Can you imagine how happy minority we are as men? Plus, 53% of İzmir in the whole are women. So my recommendation, sincere recommendation, is for you to spend some time in the city, at the heart of the city, and enjoy the exceptional qualities. You know what I mean. I'm wishing you all a very productive, enjoyable, tasteful 2 days stand, and please carry our expectations for the future, for the good of humankind. Thanks for coming.
Thanks very much, Professor Barkan. I would like to give the floor now to Mr. Professor Antonio Teixeira, President of EDEN, the European Distance and E-Learning Network.
The other one. Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. I would like to start my address by thanking very much the kind invitation to be here. First of all, thank the words and the invitation, Professor Murat Barkan, Rector of Yaşar University, and also the colleagues from the UbiCamp partnership. I will not go into details because Professor Murat has already mentioned everyone in the partnership, so I'll just briefly address the partnership, and once again thank for the kind invitation to come to this conference, and also come to the first time to İzmir. It's not the first time in Turkey. I've been here several times, as some of my Turkish colleagues and friends know. But this is the first time I've been here in this part of Turkey, and I've been enjoying very much so far. You may ask what is the meaning or what is the relevance of the European Distance and E-Learning Network being connected to this event, and in particular with the UbiCamp final conference, or as it is called, a new generation of education in Europe, from distance learning to virtual mobility. Well, in fact, as probably some of you know, the European Distance and E-Learning Network is the largest association, well, the largest association of representing distance learning and e-learning in Europe. And this, especially in the last years, it has been clear that the movement of transformation of the European university system is going in this direction, of becoming ever more virtual, of becoming ever more, in this sense, open, and using, of course, e-learning as the open education as the main focus of, the mainstream of their own provision, education provision. In that sense, virtual mobility plays a very important role. And in our own understanding, virtual mobility is one of the key challenges that European universities face in the coming years. And these challenges connects exactly with this topic that I would like just to share with you. This is a couple of short reflections on the virtual mobility that I would like to share with you now. And the key element is the scaling up of virtual mobility. We have been already several very interesting and successful initiatives in the last years in virtual mobility, but in the end we still need to scale up this. If the Erasmus program can be already seen as one of the major achievements of the European Union so far, virtual mobility is the next one, and we need to scale up virtual mobility in order to keep our promises and to keep our ambition. I would start just in these short reflections. I would start just to this picture. It may be a little bit difficult to see, but I'll try just to pinpoint what is important. This is actually the result of a presentation that was, actually the presentation that resulted from a work that was done by PhD students in the framework of the Eden Conference in 2012, which was held in Porto. And this, in particular, was the contribution of a student from Spain, from the UOC, the Open University of Catalonia. At that time, he was still a doctoral student. Now he's already a PhD. And Francesc Lorenz has designed what this picture exactly as representing the way developments are, the trend of developments in technology and learning. And as you've seen, we were more or less in the focal point of collaborative culture and going into the direction of a hybrid culture. We were in 2012, so 3 years ago, and this was already clear that we were going from a culture of a collaborative e-learning, on collaborative online learning, to a more hybrid and, in that sense, complex culture that much more focused on mixing up several forms of educational delivery using technology, and also in the way people their learning would become ever more personalized and dependent on the student's own choice for their learning path. And this is what I would probably suggest as the first idea, that we have to think of virtual mobility now, from stepping from this intermediate phase to the next one. So how can we think of virtual mobility from a collaborative e-learning environment, as you've all experienced in this project, for instance, to a more open and, in that sense, hybrid environment, as, for instance, what MOOCs are these days. This is some sort of definition that I would like to suggest. I know that this definition may be in conflict with some of your ideas, but what I would like to do is just to start the discussion. This is how I see it, virtual mobility these days, after several projects already tried to define it. So basically, and it's very interesting that we're having in the room a lot of actually students that were experiencing this experience. So virtual mobility should be, first of all, an intercultural learning experience, obviously usually in foreign countries, but it also can be done in the same country, that is a part of a higher education program and doesn't need for you to travel. And of course, this basically has the form of fully online courses and study schemes, and should include assessment and formal certification. Of course, this is one of the main aspects that we should be discussing, because there are just a few number of fully online universities in Europe. So how do the other ones engage in this kind of delivery, kind of provision? And that is something that we need to discuss. How shall we embed in our own institutions the culture of blended learning? Well, as you can see, there's different types of models and models of mobility, which apply basically to virtual and physical mobility. We're basically talking about the student mobility, but we should also try to discuss a little bit about course program mobility, institutional mobility. This is a clear challenge for us, as also the educational market is becoming globalized. And in that sense, this is what I would suggest as the implementation goals these days of virtual mobility. So to facilitate adjustment to new culture and social learning, and also work environments. This is very important in a time of a globalization of also the work market. To promote social inclusion, of course, to widen the outreach and speed up dissemination of educational innovation. This is also very important. To facilitate the internationalization of higher education systems and institutions, and to promote the development of a richer learning experience. Of course, we have facing several problems ever since we start having virtual mobility projects in Europe. One of them is, of course, how can we embed this blended learning culture and provision in our own universities. Of course, the issue of language that is still being debated. Now we're starting to have also some automatic translation systems. We have to discuss if this is going to solve the issue or not. Of course, we need still an international reference or set of standards for student workload. We have the ECTS, and this is one of the big assets that we have in Europe. But we still don't find very easy to agree on what an ECTS is worth, depending on institution. And of course, the assessment is still based on exams and not so much on the assessment. But of course, there are opportunities. We all know about the opportunities, so I'll of course skip a little bit this slide. Most of them have already been addressed by Professor Barkan. But we have a new opportunity now, which is the widespread dissemination of MOOCs, and how open education, and especially massive open education, has become so viral in that sense. Of course, we in Europe have a very special situation, that's sensitive position, because we have the European higher education area, which has enabled us to build actual solutions for virtual mobility, which is not so easy when we're talking about different regions in the world, Latin America, US and Canada, Asia, and so on. Well, I won't get into detail on this because we'll be most surely discussing this in the following presentations. But also have a special new challenge for higher education institutions in Europe, which slowly they have been addressing, but still much has to be done. And which is to rethink the place and the role of a university in Europe these days, or a higher education institution in general. And this is especially to rethink it not as a full center of production, reproduction, dissemination of knowledge, but also especially a link in the global network of production, which can be individuals, can be companies, can be all sorts of institutions. And the university is basically, or should be basically, be seen as a link and also a validation center in that source. So as I suggest in the slide, as a kind of a learning shop, providing access to certification of learning outcomes and acquired competencies. In a very simple way, we can characterize this evolution from. In fact, we have, as in the previous video, as very quite correctly pointed out, we have been having mobility experiences ever since the start of universities in the Middle Ages. So in the times of the University of Paris in the 13th century and so on, there already were physical mobility schemes going on at universities. But at that time, universities were still very much built upon the kind of cultivating knowledge in that sense, a very specific, out of the almost a small ghetto, out of society of the world where knowledge was being produced and taken care of, and cared for. when we think about modern universities, we basically think about institutions that create knowledge, that do research, that share that research. But we now have to think about these universities in a different way, which is basically to certify the knowledge, to, in a way, be a kind of curator for the knowledge being produced everywhere in the community. Well, as a final moment of reflection, we have the MOOC phenomenon. And I think that, as already been pointed out also by Professor Barkan, this is a new age in which we are entering, which is basically the complete opening up of our educational systems. And in that sense, this is going to this is a tremendous challenge and a tremendous opportunity for the upscaling of virtual mobility. As my final slide, excuse me, I would just present 5 notes in that sense that I'd share for discussion, and we could surely during the conference we'll be discussing them, which I consider at this stage to be key elements for virtual mobility success. One of which, of course, is the scaling up of process and provision. We still need to do that. Also, the integration of virtual mobility as a goal for higher education institutional strategy planning. Professor Barkan already mentioned this in his address. This is really critical. Also, the articulation of virtual mobility with open educational practices for the long-term sustainability of learning. And this is one of the aspects that needs to be addressed, how this can be sustained. We have these interesting experiences, but how can they be sustained in the future and can be sustainable in an institutional environment? And 2 final ones, which the first one being the regulation of virtual mobility provision with accepted and shared quality criteria based, of course, criteria based on research output and recognized best practices, and the development of a global ethics for fair and balanced provision of cross-border education. Especially in these 2 last ones, there is the place for organizations as Eden, because we need not just institutions to do their job, but also for other organizations as Eden, in this sense, to coordinate these efforts in a different platform in which we can understand each other and create a basis for the upscaling once again and the dissemination of virtual mobility practices. So far, we have very good experiences. We have 100, 200 students in Europe which already have successfully undergone these experiences. We need to have millions, and that is the goal that I would like to discuss in this conference, and I'm sure that we'll be addressing. Thank you very much, and have a very good conference.
Thank you very much, Professor Teixeira. I would like to give the floor now to the UbiCamp coordinator, Professor Aquilino Juan from the University of Oviedo, who will introduce the main features of the UbiCamp project.
Hello, good morning to everybody. My name is Aquilino Juan. I am the coordinator of the project, of the UbiCamp project, that is the origin of this conference of today. I'm going to introduce you to our project, and I will try to explain what are our requirements at first and what do we get at the end, because we are near the end of our project. We have a lot of things made at this moment. Okay. Well, as everybody's do when are speaking about virtual mobility, I am going to try another different definition of virtual mobility. very similar to the definition that used Antonio, but this is the definition we use or in which we base our project. For us, it's a learning method that uses ICTs to generate learning environments that include the collaboration between people coming from different countries to study and work together with the goal of improving an understanding between cultures and the transfer of knowledge. Well, for us, it was important several aspects of virtual mobility. First of all, collaborative work, not only between students, but also between the teacher that collaborates in the project, and the coordinators and the people that administrate all the project. Cooperation between institutions, that's important, is necessary in order to have an environment to support the virtual mobility. And also the use of ICTs for learning. Well, we have a lot of requirements because we come for different experiences of virtual mobility, and we have requirements on how to use ICTs in our project, not to fool our project of different ICTs, but uses ICTs only to solve problems in the project. And also, it was important for us, the academic recognition, because we have the experience of different projects before that, which it was impossible to recognize ICTs, even though it was the requirement, or it was important for the people that participate in this project. But there is a lot of different problems in our institutions, perhaps because our institutions are not yet in the University 3.0, but in the University 2.0. And also, it was important for us sociocultural aspects of the project, how the people interchange information, cultural information between them, because usually in most of the project we spend a lot of time trying to solve academic problems, academic requirements, and we think that perhaps the only collaboration between the students is enough in order to interchange cultural experiences. But we think that perhaps we have to help the students to address the students in this sense, in sociocultural aspects. Well, what are our projects? UbiCamp project attempt to respond to the need to overcome the usual barriers from virtual mobility identified in previous projects within the higher education institutions in the European community. UbiCamp is the acronym of Ubiquitous Campus, which is a model of virtual mobility that allows the integration of new institutions through a decentralized model. It was important for us that the requirements to participate in UbiCamp was not a strict requirement, but flexible enough to accept new partners in the project. Of course, we accept a new partner, an associate partner at the half of the project approximately. Each institution would only have to respect the stabilized minimum quality requirements, and the technological integration will become an easy process. This was our requirements, our first requirements, in order to participate to design the UbiCamp project. Well, in our project has been participating 7 European higher institutions, higher education institutions. The University of Oviedo as coordinators, the University of Southampton, Vitautas Magnus, Yaşar University, Madrid Autonomous University, Kaunas Technological University, and the Università Telematica Pegaso, that is an Italian university that comes as associate partners approximately in the middle of our project. It was integrated, not as a full partner, and it was a test for us of how easy it is to integrate new partners in our project, and it was easy at the end to integrate new partners. Well, as I said at first, it was important for us to design sociocultural contents, to design sociocultural aspect of this project. I was convinced at first that not the simply contact between students is not enough in order to well, have a rich interchange of cultural experiences. So we want to design from first special sociocultural contents in order to address, well, inform the students about what's the culture of the institution or what's the culture of the country in which the institution is involved, and he's involved also. And because there is a gap, extremely important gap between a student that travels physically to a different country and a student that remains in their own country and only well, participate in academic contents. Of course, every time he earns or she earns participation in academic contents, he also earns in their participation in the interchange of cultural experiences. So, well, for us it was important to design an alternative way of showing the cultural aspect of the country. Also, it was important for us virtual mobility recognition, ICTs. Our students are interested in participating if they have at the end a prize. And the prize for the students is the ICT recognition, of course, because they made a big effort in participating in this project, and well, they need to get the adequate prize at the end. It was ICT recognition was possibly the most problematic thing in our project. We spend a lot of time trying to solve specific problems in every institution, because every institution has their own administrative processes, and the administrative processes, all of them are designed only for physical, for presential students, not for students that are far from this university. Usually, universities like, for example, WOC, mentioned by Antonio in their presentation, his presentation, are more it's more useful, more easy for them to manage students that are not in presentially, because they are not physical presential universities. But for us, that we have well, a lot of history as a university with students in our rooms, is more difficult to manage all these concepts. Of course, every institution have their own problems. Even problems could be so extremely important that for some of the institution was impossible to get the students to participate. We will we'll document all these problems in the project, and it will be in our portal for you to take a look in the future. In order to solve this problem, we designed a framework. Why a framework? Well, because we need to put some kind of standards in order to design what was for us virtual mobility, and not also what was for us virtual mobility, but also what are the minimum requirements for participating and the minimum requirement to recognize virtual mobility from the point of view of our project. This framework, I will explain this framework in another slide, but this framework is divided in 5 different aspects of, that we identified in order to, well, in any way, model all the virtual mobility project. And of course, as product of our project, we generate a lot of open contents that are at this moment, for example, in OCW portals or in MOOCs that can be accessed free for you in order to see what we do with all this aspect. Well, as I said, as I mentioned it before, framework have 5 different dimensions. Academic dimensions manage all the aspect of how to interchange the students in a virtual manner in our institutions. We try to, imitate as close as possible physical mobility, and at the end we get final ECT recognition that is a success for us, for our project, to a final recognition of credits. Also, we design a cultural dimension, a cultural framework, cultural aspects of our project. In this sense, every partner have to design a portal in which the students can access in order to look for different aspects of culture. For example, from the point of view of our university, the University of Oviedo, we design a portal with 16 videos showing the most important aspect of the Spanish and Asturian culture, because it was important for us not only to show the culture of the state, of the whole state, but also the culture of the street area in which the university is involved, because part of the history of the university is the history of Asturias at this case. We also design a technological framework, a technological dimension, because the main requirement for us was not to use in a spread manner the ICTs, because previous experience showed us that perhaps using much more ICTs could not be so interesting, because it's not, even though we think at first that our students are digital native students, they are not so digital native students. Perhaps they are digital native students for games, but not for all the tools they have to manage in order to access our contents. So our experience was the students have problems if you have a lot of different technologies. So we try to put one only technology to solve one only problem, and not different technologies for the same problem. Another aspect of to be considered was the training dimension. Because of neither our students are native, are digital native, nor us are as teacher, as very comfortable using some kind of technologies, because not all of us are technicians. We need training in order to manage the main tools and the main aspect of the framework. We design this framework, the training framework, in 3 different aspects: common aspect of the whole project, a specific aspect of the institution, and the specific aspect of some kind of tools. Okay, most of the tools was common. For example, LMS, most used LMS in UbiCamp was Moodle, but not all the partners have the same LMS. So we have to design different training elements. Also, part of these training elements are at this moment in the TCAM portal. TCAM was a previous project on UbiCamp, in which most of the partners has participated before. And in this portal we have these training materials in order to be accessible. And we have at last the management dimension. This was the most problematic dimension, I think, in our project, because the 4 first dimensions were managed by us, but the last one was managed by our Erasmus officers, and also by our administrative staff, and it doesn't depend on us. So we had a lot of problems in order to design in every institutions how to manage the different the aspects of the recognition, the ICT recognition, and the virtual mobility. More or less, I can say that we try to imitate as close as possible the physical mobility, the Erasmus physical mobility, and well, we sign bilateral agreements, we sign learning agreements, and we, at the end of the project, at the end of the courses, we send transcripts. And at this moment, not all the students have recognizes their credits, because we are at this moment in the transfer processes. But from the point of view of the University of Oviedo, I am happy because I think 2 of our students has at this moment recognized these ICT credits in their curriculum. So I consider that we have successes in this important requirement for the UbiCamp. Well, in order to develop our project, we participate with, I think, 12 or 14 subjects. This is the list of subjects. We try to choose subjects of 6 ECTS credits. The first problem we encounter is that even though we all measure our subjects in ECT credits means not the same for the different institutions. So this is the first problem. And we have to agree in how to validate the weight of the different ECT credits in the different institutions. Well, this is the first problem. It's not the only problem, because, for example, Italian people assess their subjects between 0 and 30. We evaluate subjects between 0 and 10. And other partners evaluate between A and D. And as you have to interchange all this information and have protocols to translate one evaluation from one scales to other scales in your institution. Well, as I said, every partner put at least 2 subjects, and all of us send students. Near all of us send students. In the next slide, I will show you what's the participation, what the final participation. How we design our project? What is main steps to design our project? Well, as you can see in the slide, first of all, we develop the students' virtual mobility framework. The first step is to agree in a definition of virtual mobility, because there is no official, no standard definition. So first step is to agree in what means virtual mobility for us. And from this point of view, from this requirement, basic requirement, we develop the student visual mobility framework. We develop the quality academic contents, that is our open educational resources and also our academic resources, that both are more or less the same, but it's not ever the same. We develop our cultural contents in order to show our culture. Every partner design their own contents, their own sociocultural contents. We develop also the training materials. Every partner have to design their specific training materials, and the common training material were designed for the same people that work in the framework definition. Also, we design the process to interchange credits. I remember meeting in Truskinen, more or less, in which I was very surprised, because Erasmus office says us, well, your your UbiCamp agreement is not enough for us to recognize TCT credits. We need bilateral agreements in order to recognize it. And it was a surprise for me because, well, I was convinced at first that our first agreement was enough, because in the agreement was all the specific compromise of all the institutions in order to recognize credits. But, well, it was not enough. But it was not enough for the Vitautas at this case, but it was not enough also for Oviedo, because when I returned to Oviedo, I asked for the same question, and they say, no, it's not enough. So this was our first surprise. It was, well, very hard to design all the different aspects. We work a lot in designing the curriculum of the different courses in order to make them comparable and make them possibly well quality, with enough quality for the project, and also enough to recognize the credits from these courses. Well, at this moment we are at the end of the project, and we are disseminating our results. This is a part of the dissemination of our result, and we are designing our exploitation strategy. I will speak of this strategy in a slide before the end of my presentation. Well, for us it was important also to identify what are the main stakeholders of this project. The main stakeholders we identified was the participant, that is the students, the lecturers, the teachers participating in the project, also the administrative staffs, and finally the institutions, because the institutions must be involved in these processes, or these processes have no sense. Because in order to recognize credits, it's necessary the participation of the higher staff of the university, not only officers or teachers, or even persons that have a lot of interest in doing. Well, if the most important staff of the university is not involved, it's impossible to do. All stakeholders have been taken into account, not only in the questions of designing the processes, but also in the training aspect of this project, because our administrative staff needs training processes in order to manage this new concept that is very different from the concept they are usual managing in their institutions, in our institutions. Well, our pilot travels well for a lot of different periods, for a lot of different phases, but here are the most important phases designed in order to interchange the students. First of all, we define a list of courses, a definitive list of courses. After this, we sign the agreement between institutions, bilateral agreements. Every institution, we have, well, 7 institutions. Every institution have to agree with a different institution, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, at this case, bilateral agreements in order to participate. We sign a lot of different agreements, the learning agreements. Then from the point of view of our institutions, we made a call for the students to participate in UbiCamp, because it's a requirement of Erasmus that the process was open and all the students have the opportunity to participate. So, well, we all made a call for students to participate. We select all these students, our requirements, etc. And at this moment, we sign the learning agreements with our students. We interchange the learning agreements with from the host institution to the target institution in which they will take the courses. And at the end of all this process, that is a lot of interchange of paper and signings, at last we start with our courses. Using our ICTs, we are usually using a minimum of 8 by the conference that we agree in use, I think, 1 hour and a half a week at least of direct contact by video conference with our students. Well, all this process was in the first semester of this course, and in January all these processes end, all the courses has ended. I think all but one courses that will take place in the second semester. I think yes, two in the second semester. Okay. Well, at this moment we are interchanging transcript as I said before. Another problem, because I was thinking at first that interchange of transcript was immediately is we are at 1st of March, and even from the University of Oviedo not all the transcripts have been sent at this moment, so I apologize to my partners for that. But of course we have not received all the transcripts at this moment. So well, this problem is a problem that we have to solve in the future, in virtual mobility projects, because the student has participated, but the student are so far from the origin university, so he feels alone, waiting for the recognition of their credits. My students, for example, in the University of Oviedo, send me 2 or 3 emails every day asking for the transcript. Until the first time I say yes, 1 transcript and 1 recognition. Well, okay, they rest for 1 week approximately. Okay, well, these are the numbers. As said Lord Kelvin, if you have not measured your problem, you have no information about your problem. So, well, these are our numbers. This is the student received by every institutions. In the Kaunas Technological University, they received 17 students, more or less, because there are few students that participate in more than one subject, in more than one course. So perhaps not 17, perhaps 15. Well, this is only the participation. 17. The University, Universidad Autónoma de Madrid, the University Madrid Autonomous University, received 7 students. University of Oviedo, 25 students, etc. As you see, from all these students, the result was that 6 students passes in CATU. And in the other university, more or less, the results are very similar to the face-to-face courses. No much difference between the students that passes and the students that fails in our courses. And most of the students that fails was not because of the heart of the course, but because of the distance, perhaps, forced us to not to attend adequately the course, okay? But more or less, the success, the numbers shows that we success in our project. This is our view of the same concept. What's the origin of our students? Well, from CATU 5 students, from UniObi 12 students. Really was not 10 students, while was not 12 students, one was 10 students, and 1 student participates in 3 different courses. From Vitautas, 22 students, Yaşar 7 students, Unipegaso 26 students. The total students participating in our project are not 72. 72 was the total courses or the total participation, but approximately 68 students was participating. We have more or less a success, as you can see, of approximately 90% of the students have passed their studies in using virtual mobility, more or less. So, well, we are very happy with these numbers. It's not close, these numbers are not close at this moment because we need some information from one partner, but more or less it's very close to the final numbers. Well, and what's the future of our project? We are working at this moment in our last work package, that is exploitation package. Exploitation package is responsibility of Yaşar and responsibility of Gokai, but we all are participating more or less. This slide is not closed, and perhaps Gokai don't agree in the whole of this slide. Well, this is a discussion, an open discussion at this moment. Well, we have two different elements to explode, I think. The first of them are the open educational resources created during the project. It was a compromise of all the partners to put these open educational resources in a portal in order all the people can show it, use it, well, using Creative Commons license, and it will be can be accessed from our main portal, of course, www.ubicamp.eu. Okay, from this point you can access all these open educational resources. And the second element to be explored, that is the most important for us, is the framework. That is, our experience can be repeated, yes. Can be repeated as many times as you want. So we want to repeat our experience. We are designing a strategic plan for all these elements. To promote the access to ours, we are compromised to keep at least 5 years our open educational resource accessible to everybody, at least. And well, the next steps related to the framework is to invite new institutions to participate in a new experience of UbiCamp. We are convinced that it's very easy for institutions to participate. Our test was the participation of Unipegaso. Unipegaso is a very little university of Italy, sorry. And they was integrated in 1 month more or less, and they participate in the whole courses and have a very active participation in all the courses. And finally, we want to involve schools, departments of our institutions in the virtual mobility process, because all this process we have designed have been promoted from well, specific projects and from institutions, from our institutions. I am responsible, academic responsible in the University of Oviedo, and more or less the people that participate in the projects have responsibilities in their universities. But well, this is good for the first time. But the question is not the origin of the projects, or the origin of the participation, or the origin of the virtual mobility experiences must be managed by the schools that agree with other different schools in other different institutions, and they agree in participate with students in a virtual mobility interchange. So we want to do this. For the next time, we try to make a virtual mobility experience. From the point of view of the University of Oviedo, I will return to my chair as a lecturer in the university very soon. I end my academic chair, and I will try to promote from my school relations with other different schools, computer science. And I will try to promote new interchange, new virtual mobility interchange. And I am sure that it will be a success, well, a success project, because my students in the University of Oviedo are asking me practically the last week, every day, for a new experience of virtual mobility. The first time was very difficult for us to get the students that want to participate, and at this moment the students are asking us to repeat the project. So I think that it will be very, very interesting and very successful to repeat it again. Well, and what are our future challenges? Well, this is a a slide to end my presentation and to reflect my own reflections about virtual mobility. At this moment, virtual mobility is a good complement to physical one. We all are thinking that perhaps it's interesting for our students to participate first in a virtual mobility and then in a real one, and compare both of them and have different kind of experiences. But in the future, we have to design virtual mobility really as an alternative to physical one. How to do this? I think that perhaps improving our tools. We are using e-learning tools, only e-learning tools, in order to design our virtual mobility projects. And perhaps we must think of specific tools to virtual mobility. This is a question, an open question I send to all of you for discussing possibly in this conference if you want. And to end my presentation, I am going to show you a video made by the University of Vitautas as part of our products of UbiCamp project. And in this video you can see what's the opinion of the Erasmus officers of our universities about this new concept. Well, sorry, this is not the thing I want to do. Okay.
The world is changing and the education is changing. And it is a big challenge, a great challenge for university staff to accommodate new generations with new, not only topics, but with new methods and new forms of education.
Well, I think the future of higher education will be much more connected to technology. What I foresee is a combination of methods, not only traditional education, but other alternative methods such as e-learning or play learning.
We have to be very specific and have to adapt our university policies regarding to what is the demand. So regarding this, unfortunately or fortunately, information technologies is the pathway to our success and to our future.
There are occasions when physical, real mobility cannot be implemented at the moment, or we need to proceed processes which were started during the real mobility. And in these cases, virtual mobility is very useful, and it extends our possibilities to expand international cooperation in studies and in research.
We really think that this tool, this virtual exchanges, can be our new way of studying for students, of course in both ways, as the main way of studying and as additional way of studying.
I think in the future traditional mobility programs will live together with this kind of virtual mobility programs.
Traditional mobility program is and will always be the best option of taking advantage of international experience. However, it's true also that many students cannot afford the high expenses of living abroad 1 year or 1 semester. That's why UbiCamp program as a virtual mobility program can be the best solution for them.
Well, thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks very much, Aquilino, for your presentation. It is now the turn of Professor Dr. Ugur Demiray to present the case of Ude Wana. He is the president of UDEWANA from Anadolu University.
Yok, onun içinde. Buradan hangisi? Anadolu'dan önce o. Hi, dear Director, and then welcome distinguished participant. First of all, I would like to send my sincere and thanks to the organization for the inviting me and then meeting with you once more, a chance, opportunity come together. And then thank you very much for the professor's lecture. In the opening speech, he gave a brief information about the EDEN's activities, relationship with these projects, and then Dr. Yuan gave detailed information about the UbiCamp project and then its outcomes and results. I would like to inform you one point that it was important for me. Mr. Güray request from me to add some additional information about Anadolu Universities and then its experience a bit before passing my main subject. I have with me not older, but one of the Anadolu University's PowerPoint, and then I would like to just give a brief information, then show you some slides about the latest information for the covers the Anadolu University. I am one of the chanceful of person with the Professor Barkan. We were together at the beginning of distance education system in Turkey in 1982, because we were together a research assistant in the Anadolu University in 1981. Then suddenly, distance education is started for the reason that some social, economic, and politics reasons. Because on those years there was a terrorism and anarchy of Turkey, and then some university entrance examination barriers for the high school graduates, and then the appliers numbers was about 2 million or something else, and then if they very little, maybe 10% of them was winning the university, so the other one and problem, and then they are math generation, their blood is math, and then easily join with this politics, and then anarchism or something else. Then, as a summary, this is education, one of the way of solution for these younger problem solving. And then, of course, the educational solve some educational problems, higher education problems of Turkey. One of the ways distance education. And third, of course, the distance education was the new new method for the education for the world also. So we remember, and then some record says at the academic year of 1982 and 1983 academic year, Anadolu University registered 29,475 students for the first registration, first enrollment of the system in the for the Business Administration and Economics program, 4-year bachelor program. Anadolu University started for this program for the reason that the Anadolu University's rules come from the economics and then commercial sciences, because most of academic stuff was very powerful in Turkey about the economics and commercial business administration and commercial sciences. So system started with this program. Now you will see more than 100 programs on the university serving to the nearly 2 million students, 1.9 million. We are more than 100 programs. These programs contains the pre-bachelor, associate degree, bachelor degree, and then some certain certificate, and then lifelong learning programs also. And then Anadolu University, when it started this education system, have one advantage that it was established before distance education system, Faculty of Communication, and then these faculties was based on the systems as visual production, and then scenario for the educational materials, and then public relation department also introduced the system to the world. And then these core staff now reached more than 4,000 at any level and at any subjects. I will show you some quickly slides, and then maybe I can say some remark. Yes, now of course the university has the other side is traditional education. It is nearly 25,000 students with the 15 faculties, 5 schools, vocational schools, 9 institutions, and 40 research application centers, and then nearly 50 students club. And now, I said 25,000, but it was 28,000, the latest figures are says. The graduate, up to now, Anadolu University has 1.6 million graduates. And then the distance education numbers is the students numbers is 1.9 million. And also, during the distance education facilities and traditional education, also Anadolu University in care with the some projects, regional and worldwide, and then regional, national projects like a TÜBİTAK, Santez, BPT, and then PAP projects, also domestic projects, and then EU and other international projects also. There was some figures from the last years or recently, early recent. Oops. Geriye nasıl gidecektim? 7.
Geriye.
Göremiyorum ki göz. Yeah. Also, Anadolu University has some cooperation with the industry for the reason that Eskişehir city is, and then environment is Bursa and Bilecik, like these cities is industry cities. So as we understand, as we agree with you, the university should be beneficial for their far and near environment. And then, of course, as every university has some centers, culture, arts, and sports for the students, especially, of course, the traditional students. But some organizations, some special organization for distance learners also try to organize in this meaning some of the area of the country. And some, of course, we are related with some international affairs with the some certain area, and then of course, you see here EDEN and OOU, ICD, EAD2. These are mentioned mostly the distance education association's relationship with the other communities. And of course, Anadolu University is one of the pioneer institutions in Turkey for the students exchange and then Erasmus activities. For the reason that the Anadolu University's programs is very wide range. Yeah, this is the general quick view for the Anadolu University.